All right, people, let's begin with today's session. And yep, the system says I'm audible. I'm not going to check anymore. All right, moving on. This is the NQ chart for the daily. Now that level right there is nothing but one standard deviation of this move right here, right? That bearish move. That's the one standard deviation of that very move. Now this is not something that I'm looking forward to necessarily. I'm just like, that's the level I'm looking for in a sense. If market shows me the narrative and the understanding, then that's what I'm looking at. But at the moment, I'm not sure. I need to see what the market does here. Because if we look at ES right there, ES has already completed 0.5% of that very same standard of that very same move, right? 0.5 standard deviation of that move, and it has rejected from that, right? From the volume imbalance, from that liquidity void in a sense, right? Liquidity void, and it has rejected back to back from there. So we could see a higher run here. That's what ES looks more probable for a higher run. So it could run up. We have that small imbalance there. I am not very concerned about it, but well, we could actually mark that out. It's obviously an NDOG from Thursday. Let's just mark it out as a daily volume imbalance. We'll see if it is salient to any of our understandings and if it can help us build any kind of narrative. Coming back to NQ, so we have this liquidity void still open. Okay, moving on. 12 hours. Again, we've hit the gap, we've rejected, we have moved forward higher. We could look at that high again, but I'm not looking, like, that's not my draw at the moment. I'm still observing what the market has done on lower time frames. Okay. Then we have that high right there, that high right there. I see that gap. That looks interesting for 1 hour. And again, I'm not marking it as green because I'm not sure of the draw yet. I'm still observing where the draw could be. It's most likely higher. The bias, in my opinion, is bullish, but the draw is yet to be decided. Looking at 15 minutes. Yep, that should be. Now I think I can mark this as a draw. See how this can be refined on a 15-minute time frame right there. So now this is my current draw looking at the chart, or the like the 15-minute chart. That's not 1H anymore, it's 15. Okay, so yeah, that is the draw. And ES also says that's most likely bullish on the day. Looking at the daily, the next candle, like the daily candle, should be expanding further higher. Okay, there's another liquidity void right here. See that? No trading at all. It's not important right now, but we'll see if it becomes important later on. Right now my eye is right there on that high and eventually that gap. Okay. We also have news at 10, something to be wary about. I'll just mark that so we do remember that there is news right there. So yeah, that's the news. I like the way it has moved, like this strong breakout in a sense. from this very consolidation zone, right? That's a good sign in my opinion. Now if I look at the narrative, I see that gap right there. Draw is decided. I'm looking at a bullish NQ till 26,274 and eventually till 26,310, 315, somewhere in that region, 320. This gap right here is something I'm observing. Most likely should be a bullish gap, but again, I'm not counting on it yet. I'm just watching. Second is it's PMI. PMI tends to be, yeah, it can be volatile. So again, I think for today I'll not be trading before the news. I'll just watch what 10 a.m. does. So now this would be in a sense an extended session until I see something very, very obvious, which could happen again. Like let's see 9:30 breaks lower, come into this gap, and we have something very obvious and very clear, and we move right before the news, we move a little higher or something. Maybe, just maybe, but that's like very, very long shot. It depends, because last week we already mentioned, right, it was a bad week again in terms of trades and profitability. It was like break even. I was in a minor loss last week in terms of the number, in terms of the percentage, less than a percent. But that was because Friday and Thursday I was able to recover myself, not the loss, but I was able to recover myself and come back into the zone of trading. So yeah, so that's what, and I'm looking for that recovered phase to get stronger this week. I'm not willing to, well, delve into my vices, let's say it that way. Okay. Yeah, I think that is my narrative right now. I think we are looking for 26,274. 9:30 would most likely come back into this gap and would want to move higher. Failure like that gives the impression that the market wants to go lower. But when you see from where it has failed, market behavior, right? It moved higher, consolidated. So what is this? Most likely, what is this area? Any guesses? Anyone? 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 Anyone want to guess? Equilibrium. Right. If that is equilibrium, then where are we looking for targets? Most likely 26,294. Like that's a general level. If like, like equilibrium could be this level also. It could be somewhere in the middle. Like that's the most likely area of the equilibrium, right? So I'm just placing it at the center right there of this whole consolidation. So where do you see price? 26,300. Okay, let's just keep it that way. 26,300. Like I said, into the gap. So if this is equilibrium, we are expecting 26,300. That is that gap right there, the green one, right? This one. So that's my expectation. Let's see if we can take a dip back at 9:30 and show a setup, some clarity as to what we are looking for, and if we can really look for a trade opportunity or trade it in any sense. Again, this could be, the market is already volatile before 9:30, and I don't really appreciate that in a sense, because that would mean that the market would be very quick in doing what it's doing. That's how I see it right now. It will be very quick and it will almost seem absurd. Like, see, this movement right here seems kind of, not exactly, but kind of absurd, right? Out of the middle, when the market was just simply moving slowly and consolidating without any time of volatility. Like if this would have happened at 9:30, now the picture would have been different. But no, it has happened before the 9:30 open. So that's another thing to note. Where is yesterday, like yesterday's close? Yesterday's as in Friday's. It's somewhere here. It's 16:15 right there. So that's like, at the moment, I know 5 minutes are still remaining, but at the moment we are at a gap up of over 300 handles. Not 300. I'm so sorry. Over 225 handles, right? Yeah. So we are over, we have opened above almost by 225 handles. We will be opening in general sense, and that is most likely. I'm not saying that should happen. I'm just expecting what to look for, right? So that's what I'm expecting, at least a 200 handle gap up, and then let's see how the market behaves. Okay, yeah, I did not analyze ES on the lower time frames. Let's see what it is doing. See that it's tapping into that volume imbalance. So should be taking it right there. That's the stop. I'm not marking it because it's just above the volume imbalance and we have the volume imbalance already on the chart. So I'm not marking anything particularly. 69.20 round figure. But yeah, the real level is 69.18 and 2/4. Again, you see, ES has already filled the liquidity void, the void that was there, but not the same for NQ. Another thing to note, that what does that say to me? In my opinion, then if ES has already filled it, NQ would not want to come back to fill it, at least at the moment, right? That's an important low right there. It should not violate that. I mean, that's too far, but yes, that's an important low still. Now, what else could happen? That's why since there is a news, I have to be very careful until and unless something is very sure shot. I'm not touching it before the news, because what could happen is the market could come back down, take out these lows, maybe hit this area right there, this gap. I think it would be in a 3-minute or 4-minute or maybe even a 5-minute gap. See, 3-minute gap right there. I'm not marking it still because I want to see how the market behaves first. 15-minute gap, see right there. It may want to tap that before moving higher. And so yeah, therefore I'm just being a bit more on the careful side today. Plus it's a Monday. Another thing to note, everything in the market perspective tells me to not to stay put, not that do not do anything, but be ultra careful with what you are doing. Not just careful, ultra careful. So we open in the next 2 minutes. Let's see how we behave after that. I'll stick to my time frame of 1 minute. Again, it could just open and ram higher. That's also one thing. Like, these are scenarios, of course. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm still expecting it to come lower first, hit that gap, maybe take that stop out, and then move higher, right? Let's see what it does. Like, we just have 1 minute and 20 seconds, right? If it keeps moving like this, I think 930 would most likely want to ram higher first. Let's see what the next candle does. It would be much more clear. If it has speed bullishly, then 930 would again most likely tap higher first. But if it rejects, then we stick with the older narrative and it would want to tap that gap and then maybe go higher or maybe even go further lower to this area right there. Okay, yeah, this area. I was not right. But that is again what? It depends on how we open. I'm still watching that. We are still 30 seconds almost into it. And see, I told you, if it shows speed, then 930 open would mostly want to take out the high. Not necessarily 26,274, but maybe this high right there. So my approach to the market is narrative based, mostly narrative and draw. It's not setup based. It's not setup based. It's okay. I'm sorry, we opened. I did not. My attention was elsewhere. So yeah, like I said, since we opened bullishly, it might want to take that high out first, and I'm looking forward to it. On the other chart, it's interesting to watch that ES is rejecting at the moment. Rejecting from where? See that level? I mean, see the exactness of that level. It's rejecting from the 25% of that daily volume imbalance we marked. Another important thing to note. That's what am I noting? I'm not noting narrative. I'm noting market behavior, how it's behaving at certain levels. Again, if if NQ takes that high out and ES fails to go any higher, that would be an interesting thing to watch. And also let's take a look at the RTH here. See that? That's a fucking gap. 984 and we opened at 236. So that's like 250 handles of a gap. Absolutely 250 handles. Okay. Okay, nice. Now this massive gap tells me that the market would most likely be, in a range bound scenario. It would not really be moving a lot. That's what I think first. But that's only because of the gap. That's just a soft storyline, that is a soft narrative, right? A soft narrative. It's not something I'm holding myself to, but I'm watching that because it's such a massive gap. The market could most likely range. But what do we have? We have PMI, right, at 10 o'clock. So pay attention to that. Again, even though ES is rejecting lower, NQ is moving higher and it has taken that high out, right? That very high that we were talking about. But if you look at ES, it has dipped further lower, at least by a bit. Now I want to see what NQ does right here. If it doesn't reject right now, then I think it would want to take 26,274 first. What do I generally expect? I think looking at ES, I think most likely it should try to push lower first. But let's see. Like again, we are in a tough scenario today. What are the tough scenarios? I've already mentioned it. I'll type it out. That's even better. Monday, that's the first thing. Was the second thing. Volatility before 9:30 open. What's next? The news PMI at 10. What else? We have a very strong draw very close, right? The high, like if you look at it here, see it's very close to that high. So that's close to higher time frame draw. Very close actually. Very close to higher time frame draw. What else? 250 handle RTH gap. What else? I mean, there are so many scenarios that are just working against. Decoupling. What's decoupling? Decoupling between between ES and NQ. Now, why am I saying decoupling? Decoupling is when both the markets are moving on in opposite directions. See, ES is still moving lower, but what is NQ doing? Moving higher. Right, so that is something what we call decoupling. They're moving in different directions. So what does these things tell me? Stay put. Now I am stay put. Now because see, my narrative has failed. I told you, right, if it comes lower first and maybe gives me a sign that it wants to go higher before the news, I may want to write that, but not now, not in this scenario, because everything is very against to the picture that I'm holding. Apologize for that. Stay put till PMI. Let's make it a little bigger. You know what I used to do? I'll tell you. This is funny. This is funny because like seriously, I would just put it as big as possible, like the maximum size possible, right? I would place it at 40 something, whatever it may be. I would write it, and then really, like, that's, I'm not even kidding, exactly, I would do the exact opposite of it. I would write it in big, like for example today I'm writing stay put till PMI, right? And I would go into the market, I would not wait for PMI, it's right there, it's right on the face of the chart, right? But I would just still go in the chart and I would, let's say, buy this example before PMI, and then I would be kicked in the ass, not even in the ass, kicked in the balls. So exactly, so I'm writing it big not to ignore it, but I'm writing it big so I follow it. But I always, like earlier, in fact today also, whenever I write something big, I tend to go against it. I have seen myself go against it. So yeah, but again, today I know I'm on a live stream, right? So I have to behave and I have to well, follow what I've written. So I'm staying put till PMI. So where is ES going to? I see this gap at the moment. I've not marked any gap particularly in ES yet on a higher time frame, I think, right? Yeah, I haven't, because I don't see anything that's valuable at least. Uh, this could be a this could be an interesting gap right there, but it's just too close to the consolidation, and therefore my interest is not in it. Apart from that, I really don't see any valuable gap. This one is nice, but it's just too fucking big, right? I don't like big gaps and I don't entertain them. So well, that's all. Like there are no gaps here that really attract me at the moment, at least in 15 minutes. If we follow in 10 minutes, uh, nothing that catches my attention. 5 minutes, nope. I mean, this gap looks interesting, but well, no, no, I have no gap in ES that looks any which I find in any way attractive. Now the way it is going on, if we close this 1 hour candle something like this only, and the next candle breaks lower and holds there, like a kind of like a strong bearish candle, then I'm quite confident we are going straight for the low. After that, I'm not saying we are going right now to the low. I need to see a lot of things on 1 hour to really say that we are going down. But as per 15-minute, what do we see? Well, we are going for, most likely going for that low. If we do not reject, right, this low right here, that's where we should be heading. Okay. I backtested something. I'll just give a quick view of it if that's possible. Just give me a moment. Okay. So right here, there's something I was backtesting, NQH2022, right? You see that? So when I saw this, I was expecting that draw, right? 16,460. When I was somewhere here on the chart, I was expecting it to move higher. And broke lower. I tried to reframe the draw, but I could not reframe it in any sense. This was the last backtested move. Okay, this was like last, as in not last of my life, but last as in the latest that I did was this very day, Thursday, 16 December 2021. So I was looking at this and it dropped lower, kept dropping lower. I could not reframe the draw. My draw was still saying we are going higher, and it kept going lower. And when the draw was really updated in my mind, like in the chart, I could not participate because it went lower without giving me an opportunity. Okay, it was off in my time. I think it was here where I realized that the draw was lower. and you see it gave a setup right there, but that is not a time I trade, right? So I just put it aside and moved on, and it kept moving lower. PM did not give me anything interesting, nothing. I could not find anything this whole day. And this is where I remembered ICT's well, approach, where he said that days like this will come where you could not anticipate it, it was not foreseeable, and it keeps moving in one direction, and you will have that strong urge to do something, to participate in something, like, okay, it's moving lower, oh, maybe now it wants to go higher, let's just buy here, something. You see a setup which is not even there, right? It happens, like it's not a joke, right? It happens with everybody, every trader. You see what you want to see, and you end up doing something and it burns you. So I remembered that and I was like, okay, I remember what he said. This is trader's suicide. If you let that urge play along and you don't follow the edge, the system that you've made, the process that you follow, it will burn you. As simple as that, right? It will just burn you. Of course, there are many more screenshots that could be shown, but well, that's not what I'm here to do at the moment. And as we can see, ES has already taken the low out and most likely is going for that liquidity void. We should mark that out. Again, I am not clear. I'm waiting for PMI. Right, I am not expecting anything particular. I'm not expecting to do something. I will not be doing anything actually, the way it's behaving, especially I'm not going to do anything. I'm just waiting for PMI to come out and let's see. In the meanwhile, in the meanwhile, we could take a look at GBP and Euro. Like I've not been trading it for a while now, but yeah, that's what it is. And this was the draw marked in London. I was just watching and eventually it came that high and then rejected lower, taking that low out. So anyway, what I was talking about was not this, the daily time frame. I'm trying, actually no, let's be very honest. I'm trying to not show off particularly, but yeah, kind of show off. See, I marked that draw. When? On 20th October, right there on Monday. That is where in the live stream itself, I mentioned that this is where we are heading. And what happened later on? We headed there, right? And of course, that's the funny part because I analyzed it so well. I knew the draw was so strong, everything was on point, but I ended up taking losses. Okay, like this week, last week at least, and this week also I ended up taking a few losses. Like not this week, sorry. Oh, that's bad. That's bad juju. I'm so sorry. No, like last week I ended up taking a couple losses, going short only, I believe. I don't remember, was it short or was it long? We can take a look right there. Execution marks. Okay. Was I long? Was I short? Yeah, okay, that was some fuck up right there. Told you right, last week was not good. Bought, stopped out, bought again, closed the position, then sold and bought. What? I mean, I don't know what I've done. Okay, no, I think I bought it and then I sold off here. So yeah, I mean, that is, yeah, I told you like last week was very fucked up, without a doubt. At least the beginning part. I was able to regain momentum from Thursday onwards. So like I said, and in Euro also, I think we did this pretty much the same thing. We completed all the draws. Yeah, see, I marked that when again on 20th October, sorry. So we were looking for lower prices all this time, and that's exactly what we have been delivered with. And still, I have not been able to trade that profitably. Now that is where things get very interesting. And I apologize if you're hearing some background noises. Just ignore. Okay, coming back to NQ. We are very far from, in my opinion, like 15 minutes is a very long time. We are very far from PMI in my opinion. Let's just wait. See that gap? We've just tapped into it. Is that a buy? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think we would take that low out and we would want to come here. Remember, I told you one of the narratives. Again, I was not saying we are coming here. I'm not being very smart. No, that was not. I stated multiple scenarios and I said all of this could happen. I think three of them. I was expecting this to come here and then go higher. Then I was expecting that high to be taken out. And after that, I don't know. It could come lower. It will go higher. I don't know. And the third scenario was right here that we might want to come into this gap. And at the moment, the way I look at it, PMI might want to push lower into that gap and at least like take some stops out here, right? So that is still my approach. Now I'm sticking with that narrative at the moment. Still, again, still what? Still, I'm not confident in that. I'm not following it because what? We are waiting for PMI to reveal the market's true colors, what it really wants to do. Yeah, okay, I went silent there. I went AWOL. Anyway, still holding to what most like, and now I'm going to actually draw that out. Not 5 minute. I think it was a 10 minute or 15 minute gap that looked much better. I'm going to remove. No, I'm not going to remove that. Just a moment. This and this and this and this. You guys stay in this interval. Okay. So where is that? No, not 5 minutes. 15. Yeah, 15 minute looks nice. That is the gap right there. I think we are drawing towards it. That's my current draw. But that is not a sell that I'm looking at. Why? Because we have PMI, right? I said stay put till PMI. Do not forget, even though we have a draw and even though maybe we even get a narrative, but and maybe even a setup, everything feels complete in the edge. But no, I'm waiting for what? For the PMI to show up. Now, if you look into RTH, okay, you're coming in between, bro. I don't want to remove you. See, where is that gap? Funny, right? Where is that gap right there? It's at the midpoint almost of the opening range gap. Sorry, of the RTH gap. Yeah, opening range gap, right? Sorry, opening range gap, correct. So that is like what? Yeah, it's exactly at equilibrium. See right there, it's exactly at equilibrium. So that even increases my interest in it. The market may want to come lower to that gap and then most like, okay, my most likely draw is still bullish. Okay, that is, I hold myself to it. No changes there. I'm looking for that and that. But the narrative is still fluctuating. I need to see what PMI does before I can build something concrete. Remove that. I don't think we need it. Just give me a moment. I'll be back. So we have already made it to the gap that I just mentioned. It's a 15-minute gap. I haven't mentioned that. 15 right there. And that is done. But we still have 8 minutes to PMI. And look, interestingly, what ES has done, exactly as anticipated, right? It's exactly on that volume imbalance. On that liquidity void, actually, sorry, not a volume imbalance, but on the liquidity void. Since it has come this far and it has been in a rush to get there, I think it would want to take that out and even that out before any chance of going higher. That is the current approach. Or maybe I'm completely offside and it wants to go much, much lower, right? That is also possible. Excuse me. Okay. Maybe I'll share. No, I'll not share. Let it be. Like nothing personal. It's just like that. I thought I'll share some back test screenshots or something, but I guess no, not yet. Like the one I shared just now, right? You realize the importance of backtest when you have completely burnt yourself or you've completely lost your mind. Trading. It is what it is. It's a fact. You cannot change that. Until and unless you think that you are dumb in a sense. Not dumb now, not in a, don't take it on the ego. If you really think that you're just a simple person who has no smartness whatsoever, then obviously I guess you'll understand that before getting burned, because this game right here is very simple, but the only problem is it's not easy. Very simple but not at all easy. So if you're dumb, like dumb in the sense what, like that movie, right? What was that movie? Forrest Gump. So if you're someone who listens to uh, people very quickly, understands, okay, this guy's talking some sense, I should listen to what he says by the word, then of course you can save yourself some burning and you can learn the lesson much more quickly. But unfortunately for me, I was not that dumb, and I think most of us are not, especially those who come into trading. They think they own the world. They're like they are the king of the world, right? Heh, I've done everything, I'll do this like anything, and then it kills you. It This market, if you don't know if you don't know your real place, this market will show you your real place. It will remind you of how tiny you are. At the same time, if you really understand it, it will also make you realize how big you are. It's funny, right? It's very funny. Trading is very, it's a very polar thing. Like I said, like ICT said, right, that day in one of his tweets, that day as in I guess 2 years back. But yeah, he said, right, hurry up and wait. So those are two absolutely opposite things, but they go together hand in hand. That very way, trading here would show you that you are minuscule, you are nothing. Your emotions don't mean anything. You losing money doesn't mean anything. It's nothing. But at the same time, once you really master it, you'll feel like, okay, not like you're the king of the world, but you'll feel like, okay, I'm not that small at least. I know my shit, I can do it, and well, it will make you confident. And if you watch ES right now, ES has taken that low right there. Beautifully taken and rejected. Again, is it going higher? I don't know. I don't know that. I'm not. All right, I am bullish. I'm looking for that high most likely, but I'm still not expecting a bullish run still until PMI gives me a clearer picture. So we are staying put till PMI. So okay, so I'm going to remove this now because it's almost PMI. It is almost understood. Now what? Well, we are holding two opposite pictures in NQ and ES. Like I am holding, of course, not we, but I am holding two opposite pictures. When I look at NQ, I think PMI would drop into the gap and then we would see a higher run. How far high? Most likely till that draw. But when I look at ES right here, ES is, well, this looks to me like it wants to move higher but eventually sell off, right? So that's what I'm seeing. So I mean, it's not like it's opposite per se, because NQ could take that high out and then they both sell off, right? While ES retraces into those higher areas, higher gaps. So that is also possible. But let's see, now we have just 1 minute remaining for the red folder event. I fucked up in backtesting, exactly thinking what I'm thinking right now. News trading is easy, which it is, no doubt. It's very easy, very simple, very easy. But if you hold yourself rigidly when the news is delivered, now you are, well, like I expected in one of my backtests, I was expecting a Fed interest rate decision to be a two-way delivery, right? That's mostly what it is, two-sided deliveries. Like it will first take out, let's say, sell side and then go for buy side and then probably come back later and take the sell side again. So it's like something like that. It will trap everyone. So that trap was what I was expecting, and it didn't really happen. It moved in one direction. So again, news trading is easy, but you have to be very clear in what you're looking for. All right. That is a very dull move, and that's beautiful. That's even better. All right. We have tapped into the gap. Everything looks good, but what doesn't? ES right here doesn't look very good. It has broken below the volume imbalance, and if it has done that, it might want to take these lows out, right? Hit that gap. See that 1 minute gap right there? It's a very small gap. No, it's not a good gap. Sorry. No, actually, yeah, sorry. This was the gap. I lost the gap. Okay. Yeah. See that one right there? Extending it all the way till there. So yeah, it may want to tap there, but again, I'm not claiming that's what's going to happen yet. I need to have a clearer draw. Looking at NQ, my draw still remains higher, but looking at ES, it's pretty dirty, to be honest. I don't really like what ES is doing. If you look at a higher time frame picture, tricky, really tricky. and not NQ. NQ, in my opinion, is not tricking me right now. I think NQ should be bullish, but because ES is not looking very good, I am doubting NQ. So let's see what actually happens here. Just observe at the moment. Again, my draw is clear on NQ. I'm looking for higher run. And if you see ES, the bodies are closing in the volume imbalance still, which is interesting. Not in 1 minute, of course, after 2 minutes, in 3 minutes, and the other time frames. See, all the bodies are still inside the volume imbalance. So that is something to note. Okay, my idea is complete. If in case it shows me something and we are bullish, I'm not aiming for the high, I'm aiming for this gap right there. And it has used this gap. I don't want to remove it. It was a good gap. Let it be here. Also, again, if you watch NQ, where are the bodies? They are in the upper half of that 15-minute gap. No, I'm not sure yet. And I'll have to wait until the market shows me something. And it's not showing me at the moment that we want to go higher or lower. Now this is the equilibrium level as we expected it to be, right? That's what we're expecting. So if this is the equilibrium level, this should reject strongly now and would want to go where? To the proposed target, like 26,300, in that vicinity. So that's still what I'm looking for. Let's see if the market shows that I'm on the right side, in the right order flow. Now see, this is where ES has done something interesting. What? It has closed below the gap, below the volume imbalance. And I think it would want to reach for that gap right there. Okay, if ES wants to go there, let's just suppose for the moment, because that looks like a much stronger draw at the moment. If ES wants to go there, where would NQ want to go? I don't see anything in NQ which I do see this gap which the market has used here and falling down in a sense, but no. Now see, this is where now I'm willing to create something. I'm looking for something that's not obvious on the charts, finding a gap to sustain my narrative, right? That is something you should not be doing. So again, we stick when ES completes the draw. That would be that small gap in 1 minute that I marked right there. That's what we are looking for at the moment. And then we'll see what NQ does and till where it has reached. Okay. 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 Yeah. The voice is clear. Hmm. See, again, I like what NQ is doing, but I cannot really participate until ES either completes the draw or at least taps this thing, this volume imbalance, or was it a liquidity void, whatever it was. If it taps that, then I am interested. No, actually, I'm interested when it takes that gap. That's what I'm really interested in. But well, look at that. Mm, okay, all right. Where are we in terms of RTH? Oh, baby. We've covered over 170 handles, 160, 70 handles of the 250. Huh, nice. Finally see something. Now I am more confident that we should be looking for that gap in ES. See right there? Even that is there, right? This is also interesting. And this is like, I'll stick to this at the moment. Let's see how it behaves here. I know the chart has gotten occupied a lot, and that's okay. It's not my concern, honestly, because I need to see what I need to see. Can't fight it. We have another gap there, right there. See, this was the gap, the second gap in RTH. So this is interesting to me. I think if it goes higher without taking that gap, like ES does not take that gap, and we move higher, then I think the original picture that not the original picture, sorry, the one picture that I said that ES would be retracing to come lower, that would be true, and then we would not see NQ make it to that high. Because why? There's also one more thing we should know. I think ES has taken that high, if I'm not wrong. No. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Obviously, ES had taken that high way before. What is the time here? That's Friday's almost 8:30. Where is Friday? Where is Friday? Where is Friday? Okay. No, ES has not taken that high. Like ES is far, far from that high. Okay. Again, if you look at ES right now, it's providing it's providing the 2022 model, right? That gap, structure shift, a kind of a displacement. But no. Why no? Because just a setup. I don't have a narrative behind it. I don't have a draw that's supporting it. So yeah, I think that would be most likely to fail, or it would just go higher for a retracement and then eventually come lower. All right, still sticking to it. We have another 45 minutes to this session. Let's see what the market does. See, I don't like trading big gaps personally because they don't really give you a sense of direction. And that's what I feel. I mean, personally, you may like big gaps. I am not really appreciative of big gaps. I only see them as targets. Like again, if we are going higher and let's say there's a sell-off scenario and I'm seeing it and I'm expecting that. So this is where I would be looking to take targets, this big gap, right? Because the market might want to consolidate there or maybe take support and move higher again, right? So that's how I see big gaps. I don't see them as entry points in any sense. I see them as exit points, definitely valuable exit points. Something for the notes, right? Not for you, for me, of course. That is an important observation right there. That is what? That is an exit strategy, a booking strategy. Just give me a moment, writing a few things down. Okay. Right. So that's done. Uh, I completely forgot to mention. I was mentioning an idea yesterday as in Friday, of course, of the market selling off right from here. See, yeah, this is me not, yeah, this is me actually showing off, and I will show off because I did mention this low. I don't, yeah, I did mention this low. I expected market to go lower to that, and that's exactly where we went, right? And I closed the session somewhere around 11, right? This is where I closed it, but I was still observing because I knew what I was looking for. I knew it could be a little off on the session, but it should show us that same sell off scenario because I was confident on that, right? So I went outside the session to execute this, and the executions here are very awful. Why? Because, well, this is paper trading account. I'm not trying to be perfect here. I'm trying to be, well, just for the sake of recordings so that I can show this very clearly. So my execution was right there on a 3-minute gap. That's a 3-minute gap. You can see the setup. Sorry, where is it? Yeah. See the model right there? Buy side taken out by a little. Then we displaced lower, a gap was opened, market structure shift, and my narrative and bias and draw and everything was telling me a bearish. Yeah, I remember now also because I said the bias was bearish for the day. Right, that's exactly what I said in the live. I remember. So holding myself to it, I sold it right there on a limit order, taking out somewhere on the tip of this in my actual accounts because that was volatile after that for some reason. I did not know the reason, but I knew something was going to happen, and that's where I booked on my own, taking the decision in my own hands. And now see this funny thing. I told you, right? You would see that as a 2022 model and you want to execute that, but you should not be executing that because what? It is not backed by narrative, it is not backed by draw. By you, I don't really mean you. By you, I really mean me. It lacks the repeatable edge. It does not have that. And see, right there, stop taken. Anyway, coming back to NQ. So I sold this and my target was looking at this gap. I was looking here like, okay, will it break through that or not? And the moment this candle dropped, that's exactly what I was expecting, below this low, this small low, right? This low. So when this was falling, this was a completely red candle. So I knew the moment it breaks below the low, I want to take my profit right there. And give me a moment, I'll actually show you the original executions. And always, right? I didn't want to, well, it's all right. Anyway. Right there. See? Sold off at the 3-minute gap, booked right there, then this, and then the market eventually rode off lower. Taking those stops out, you see. That's why I don't like trailing stops. Not because I don't know what, but this could happen and it could just ram you out unnecessarily. So even though I booked here, my stop was still right, resting right above the high, right there. So waited for it, booked right here. And that was me kind of showing off. I'll just move this aside. I'll get back to it. And yeah, see, NQ has tapped that gap. I'm watching if, just give me one moment. I'm watching if ES has taken the gap or not. No, it is yet to hit the gap right there. Still waiting on that gap. NQ may or may not break lower further, but I expect ES to do that. It would be good to see a divergence right here, like NQ, especially in NQ. Like NQ makes a higher low, but ES taps that gap and makes a lower low, right? And then a setup is presented. No, I should be not doing that. I should keep it just there. Then again, if we get something, what are we looking for? We're looking for that gap. We're not looking for the high. We're not looking for even this gap. We're looking for this gap right here. And by this gap doesn't mean the whole covering of it. The moment the market enters the gap, that's where the booking would be complete for me. Only when we have a setup and clarity that that's what we're looking for. See this gap right there? That has my interest. I'm not going to draw it. I'm just watching it. Watching if if ES takes the gap first and NQ does not go lower. I think I should be removing the green gap. What was that, by the way? A 15-minute gap, right? Yeah, I think I would remove it. We'll see it later. Well, they're pretty much behaving the same, I think, NQ, and there you go. NQ has taken the low and ES has not. And that is interesting. That means what? Most likely we are heading for which gap? The other one I showed you, right? This one right there. And this is something I should draw out now. That's a big gap. It didn't look very big on the RTH, but it looks bigger here. And that is absolutely okay. Nope. Is it better visible on the 2-minute? Nope. 3-minute? Not really. 5-minute? Nah, it's all right. Okay, actually, yeah. See that? That matches our appetite and view pretty well. And again, I'm not looking to go long until unless ES takes the gap. It's very hard to shift me from that until unless like market moves much higher and much strongly higher. Until then, I'm waiting for ES to take out the gap. This was 1 minute. This was 1 minute, right? One. And this right here was 5. Okay. I think that this candle should be slightly volatile. I'll not comment on the direction. It tends to be wrong. Yeah, it has been wrong already. I was expecting it to move lower. So yeah, it has moved higher, but that's okay. Okay, still the same picture. I've not changed my view. I'm just waiting if ES. I'm waiting for ES to take the gap. Hmm. Right there, it's very close to the gap. It should be taking in this candle itself. There you go. Let's see now how NQ behaves. Does it tap that gap or not, or rejects from this very gap? See, if ES breaks that gap, then I think I would call that the end of the session, because then most likely the market is going lower and we would need to have much more clarity before we enter into any kind of shorting proposition. Proposition. What's the word? Proposition. I think it's proposition. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so weird right now speaking it. Proposition, but yeah, that's the word. Proposition. 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 Anyway, I know that's the word. That's the right word, but yeah, it's just not rolling off the tongue very nicely. I don't want to see ES break the gap, and currently it is breaking the gap. And yes, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, I think I need a new picture, which I don't have at the moment. I think this is where we are heading now. I am not looking at any longs now. I'm not even looking at any shorts right now. Just watching if we see something. This has been a while. I mean, this is so weird. I just showed you that very picture, right? That you would, the back tested move that I showed you just now, like a few half an hour ago maybe. It moves in one direction. You're expecting something. It's not happening. You want to change your picture, but it's not really changing because it looks like it wants to go higher, and it keeps moving lower, and you cannot participate. You look through the whole day, but you're just not getting anything. And I can't believe, at least for this session, I don't know if the day would be like that, but I can't believe that this is the session that I just backtested pretty much. Just wants to do the against of what you're expecting in a sense, and without even giving you any clarity that that's where it wants to go. At least I don't have that clarity. Maybe someone does have that clarity, but I don't have it. And I don't care if anybody else is clear or not. If I'm not clear, I'm not trading it. I mean, it's that simple. And clearly it has broken all those gaps, and I have lost interest in any kinds of longs or any kinds of shorts either. And instead of extending the session unnecessarily, I would call this the end of the live. Of course, I'll be sitting here for another half an hour to see what actually the market does. But this would be it for today. Pretty decent session, I guess. I liked it. See you tomorrow AM session. The timings have changed, right? We have daylight savings now. It is now UTC -5 and not UTC -4. So earlier the sessions were at 7 p.m. Indian time. Now they are at 8 p.m. Indian time. So the timing of the live has also shifted. Common sense. That would be it for today. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. Indian time. Thank you.